2, invocation. Would somebody like to lead us in prayer?
Your turn, Annette.
Father God, I just thank you for this opportunity we have to serve you and serve the citizens of Palm Valley. Lord, give us wisdom and guidance as we make decisions for the city. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Number 3, pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 4, discussion and possible action to approve the minutes of the regular meeting on June 20th, 2023.
Mike, is your,
Sorry. Discussion and possible action to approve the minutes of the regular meeting on June 20th, 2023. Anybody have any?
I have a couple edits.
Go ahead.
So on page 7, number 13, noticed a couple just misspellings. So possible is misspelled and parking is misspelled. Those are the only things that I found that I had any concerns with.
Anybody else have anything else to add?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes with the corrections stated by Scott Nelson.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Motion approved. Number 5, public comments. Jose, do we have anybody for public comments?
Oh, good. I'm going to pass this along to him.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
Two people did.
Playing a dual role.
Imagine- Yeah, thank you. You're getting your steps in today.
So first off, you have Richard Sloan.
Is your mic on? There you go.
Yeah.
Is that on? I'm Richard J. Stone Sr. I reside at 5619 Lacana Drive. I am sure I'm speaking loud enough for everybody to hear me because that's part of the conversation I am going to have. First off, I would like to compliment the present City Council members and our mayor for the resumption of conducting city business in accordance with city law and city ordinances. 5 years ago, when my wife and I became citizens of Palm Valley, we religiously attended city council meetings. With the onset of COVID-19, we refrained from utilizing Zoom meetings due to hearing difficulties. Now that regular meetings have resumed, we have resumed our attendance. However, a few months ago, I was severely insulted by a citizen who arbitrarily accused those not attending meetings as being lazy. Since that accusation was made, I had no contact or respect for that person. Last month, when we resumed our attendance, we found it very difficult to hear discussions by council members, as I just had difficulty hearing you with your prayer. In addition to that, it is compounded by disgruntled members of the audience holding separate meetings and separate discussions. I hereby request that the mayor reprimand these individuals and, if necessary, have the sergeant of arms remove them from the premises should they continue to disrupt the proceedings. All of us in attendance should be afforded the opportunity to hear and understand the discussions at hand. I thank you people for considering that, and I thank the people in the audience for keeping quiet while the meeting's going. Thank you.
Jose, next person?
Thanks, sir.
Edna Baker.
I'm Edna Butler, and I live at 5516 Palm Valley Drive North. I would like to say that in reference to John, I think his name, that I wish you guys would move your microphones closer and not have them halfway up on the table so that we can hear back there, because we cannot hear you. And I hope one of these days you guys don't lose your hearing like some of the rest of us do. Yeah, because I'm not going to wear a hearing aid until I absolutely have to. And then another thing I would like to ask, whenever we ask questions, they're never answered. Ever since George was mayor here, I have got up and I've spoke and I spoke and I spoke. My questions have never been answered. I wished you council members and the mayor, okay, Mayor, listen to me.
I understand. Go ahead.
You're talking while I'm talking.
I'm about to answer your question.
Now I forgot where I was going. But anyway, whenever we ask questions, the next meeting, would you please answer our questions, because it's important to us. We are the city. You guys are supposed to represent us, and we would like to have our questions answered. I know you can't answer them whenever we ask them here, but the next meeting you can answer them. Thank you.
Mrs. Butler? I was going to tell you, these microphones don't amplify the sound of the voices. They just make it so that the Zoom participants can hear.
Well, you guys need to speak up a little bit louder.
There you go. I was just going to say that it's,
Either that or you're gonna
even
have
if
to
it
purchase
was
all hearing aids.
over here, it wouldn't make a difference. I can't hear either, so I'm with you.
Same here. Jose, next person?
Those are all the public comments.
It's all coming, okay.
May I ask one more question? If we can't hear you, can we ask you to speak up so that we can hear you? Okay, thank you.
Number 6, discussion only on the notice received by the owners of 218 Palm Valley Drive West at the request of Madeline Brewer in reference to a possible violation of Title 15, Land Usage, Chapter 150, Building Regulations, Construction of the City of Palm Valley, Texas Code of Ordinances. I believe they're on Zoom. You have the floor.
Hello.
Can everybody hear us?
Can you hear us?
Nope.
Can we turn it up?
Speak up louder.
That's on our end, so we'll try to turn it up.
Oh. Can you-
Okay. Give us the green light whenever you are ready.
Is that better? Okay.
Is that better now? Okay. Thank y'all. I'm Madeline. This is Nathan. So I'm going to go ahead and start, and then we'll go from there. Good evening, and thank you for having me and my husband on the schedule today. I've brought my issue to the council's attention after receiving a letter from the city explaining that my home is not in compliance with Chapter 150.099 fences. However, after studying the ordinance, I do not know why I was sent this letter. Although it is a bit ambiguous, according to the definition of a fence in 150.099A, this does not describe the structure built on my property. So I'm a little confused as to why the letter I received referred me to this regulation in particular. I did not build a fence, so I don't know why I was noticed of a fence violation. Also, in accordance with Ordinance 150.099F1, the quote, setback line is property's deed restriction. After referring back to the vesting deed and the subdivision plat of Palm Valley Estates 2, the only setback line referenced on the plat or on the deed is a 5-foot utility easement at the rear of my property. The pergola that I built upon a pre-existing permanent concrete structure is in compliance with the setback lines according to the deed restrictions, property survey, and the subdivision plat. So in early spring of 2022, I decided that putting up a pergola on a pre-existing concrete porch/slab would assist with the safety of my child, as the backyard was completely unusable prior to the pergola being built due to the direct sun exposure and slippery tile after rain. We had lived in the house for only a month. My 1-year-old son slipped and fell on the back of his head on the uncovered outdoor tile. We rushed him to the hospital where he had a concussion and a few stitches. His doctor recommended for me not to let him there again for safety concerns. Because of this, we did not go into the backyard at all as a precaution. So I decided to take matters in my own hands and make my house safer for my child. So since there was already a permanent concrete slab attached to the home prior to its purchase, I referred to the ordinances and searched for any rules or regulations prohibiting me from building a, quote, partial overhead cover or a quote pergola over a pre-existing concrete slab. There were not. Nor were there any regulations stating that I needed a permit. The current pergola has been a safeguard for my children and allows for more substantial use of the home. Only recently this has become a problem when my husband and I relocated to Arkansas, hence why we're on Zoom. And we're in hopes of selling the house. Our realtor brought it to the city's attention in February of 2023. After this, we were unaware of any wrongdoing at all in our part until July of 2023, 5 months later. The letter stated that I would get charged $500 each day that the structure was left up, but did not give a starting date to which these fees would begin to incur. The letter also stated that there were photos of said structure attached to the letter, which there were not. My goal here today is to get the violation waived for the structure due to the fact there's no ordinance stating that I cannot build upon a pre-existing concrete slab within my yard in regulation 150.099 fences. Also, according to all official land documentations of my property, it is in complete compliance with any.
Anybody have any questions?
So this is on the west side. It's the White House that used to be orange.
Right,
Yes.
the structure was built without.
Yeah, yes,
Yes.
we painted it quickly.
Thank you. Thank you.
We got quite a thing.
So I remember the house. So there's a patio that's attached to the
Yes.
back of the house, and so then they just put a pergola on top of it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
right. Just over a weekend, I suppose. I don't know what the construction was, but it certainly was, there was no permit pulled
Okay.
or anything of that nature, which should have been done.
Y'all,
Yeah.
y'all
Yes, yes, sir. I understand that, but I did look up that, but I didn't know whether or not the pre-existing, since it was a pre-existing concrete slab, I assumed just making it better and putting an uncovered, it's not completely covered, so I did not get a permit, no, sir, I did not. However, it was already there and it was a hazard for us, so we did it as quickly as we could.
It encroaches on the rear building setback line that exists on those houses that are on the golf course. And so the permit would have been denied for that reason, aside from the fact that it was built without a permit. And it, if you look at the schedule of structures that exist, that's an exhibit to the ordinance that's referenced, it's specific as to this structure needing a permit, has to have a foundation, which it does, but it needed a permit and it certainly can't exceed the boundaries without the council granting a variance of some sort.
So it's the height of it that's bad
No,
because
it's
the
the-
slab was already there.
Anything that rises from the ground, we just had one recently. He was asking for a variance, and we denied it because he was trying to put planter boxes, and that was denied because it goes from the ground up.
Right.
So-
It's defined
It's
as
a vertical.
It's defined as a structure under the local ordinances. It therefore needed a permit. It has to be built a certain way, and it certainly can't exceed the building setbacks. It's a structure, so it's subject to that, and so it's non-compliant, and it was built without any notice to the city. So that's why they were getting the notice to take it down, or the enforcement will come out and start fining them and then placing a lien on the property until it's removed or remedied.
So in the packet, there's minutes from a previous meeting.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was before I got here, so
Yeah,
I'm
it was before
not
I
sure
got-
when
Before we got
that
here,
meeting
this is old
happened.
business, correct.
Yeah.
That was totally different. It wasn't it was a abandoned easement. That was the one, the golf course
Right,
part
yeah, that's
easement.
completely different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's
This-
not the
If someone
same.
put any building structure where this one's located, it would be in violation of the setback. It's just
So,
not permitted.
so quick question really quick. So what you're saying is no matter what happens, that concrete slab had to have been there and I could build nothing on top of it for my, I guess for as long as I would own the house.
The answer to the question would be that if there was something that was designed and submitted for a permit that was compliant, then it could be built if a permit was granted. But if this one was submitted properly, it would have been denied.
Can it be modified at all to comply?
The pergola, if you were to cut it back at that 25-foot line, I think that would probably be
Right.
acceptable.
If there was another design that was compliant and they got a permit to build that, to make sure that it met all the building code standards, then it theoretically would have been out there to, step it off.
And that's what we did with the other gentleman. He submitted several renditions until we finally had one that was acceptable under the
Right.
ordinance.
Yeah, but this was built before.
I have another question as well. So we did the 25-foot step back, and that leads straight to our house. There's one sidewalk about 3 feet away from our home is a 25-foot setback. Therefore, that we would not have been able to put a pergola up at all. That's 25-foot setback. And I do not know of any, I know that you referred to a 25-foot setback. However, I don't know any documentation that says that. I've looked at this at the subdivision plat. I've looked at the vesting deeds and my survey, and I only see the size of the easement at the rear of my property.
I've seen one particular resident that met the requirement, and the way he did it was he extended the patio out. I think it was about 15 feet, but it's attached inside the roof, and there are no poles, so it's not coming out of the ground. And that was actually accepted by the inspector.
Right.
And
It's an overhang.
Yeah, it's an
versus a
overhang,
building.
correct.
Yeah, because it can be.
Yeah.
The answer to the question is, in lots, I'm assuming this is on the golf course, on lots on the golf course, in the deed restrictions, there is a particular setback per lot. Some of them are grouped together, but the municipal ordinance refers to that as the setback line. So you have to look at a couple of different documents. An easement would not be something that you would look at.
So-
You're looking at setback lines.
Okay, do you know what mine are in particular? What lot 17 is in particular?
I can tell you, except for with a few exceptions, and yours isn't one, that it would be 25 feet.
Okay, I understand. So moving forward from here, obviously I'm trying to alleviate taking it down. That is the last thing I would like to do. Financial reasons and, the safety. Like I said before, my kid was rushed to the hospital after a slight rain. I know that's besides the point. I understand that. However, it's something that I would like to keep up. What is a possibility? Is there a way that we could get some sort of a variance done, or some sort of thing that we can do to maneuver this to where we could, keep it somewhat covered in a certain aspect? Because no matter what it sounds like to me is 25 variance is up against our back wall, and we could not build anything on that. Even a covered structure like that would just be an awning out. It wouldn't work for our house in particular.
Yeah, you would have to have it engineered and approved probably by your insurance carrier to have that done, because I've seen that done before where they do an overhang. But it is a process. And then you would have to bring those renditions back to our inspector and make sure it meets code.
Right, and if it was denied, then that would be the time where you would ask for a variance.
Correct.
But the first step would be besides removal, would be to bring a proposed structure or modification to that structure as a permit to the office and get it approved or denied. And then from there, you know what you need to do.
Okay. As far as modification goes, is there anything that we can get a hold of that could show us what we are allowed and what we are not allowed in specifics? Because a lot of the times that I have in the wording that we have, that we are, as citizens, that we are given is a little ambiguous. The words are pretty vague when it comes to stuff like this. So I would love to have something that's kind of, you're allowed to have this, but not, not certain aspects of certain things. So therefore, I would like that as well, but I understand and I appreciate your help.
I would There are plenty of individuals and companies that specialize in that you would refer to, and it'd be their obligation to come forth with a plan that was compliant, and if not compliant, would help you submit a variance request prior to construction.
Is there any way that we can maybe get the inspector to go out there and see if they can salvage part of that and move, remove part of it and then?
That would be at the council's discretion, because the chief, the inspector he gets paid every time he goes out there, and so I doubt he would want to have his professionalism be in that aspect. I think he'd probably be disqualified from suggesting something that he's going to approve. I would think you would need a third party.
Oh, I see.
I don't know that he would do it.
I see what you mean.
Violence of the ethics ordinance that we're about to look at in just a bit. Get paid to advise and then get paid to approve.
Approve it, yeah.
So I think another question that comes to my mind, and you mentioned it at the beginning here, the first thing I noticed, there's no date on this document.
Which document?
On the letter that was sent to them.
Yeah, she mentioned that.
Yeah, so
Well,
I'm not saying let's start the clock now, but
I
it
can
does
tell
need
you
to
that
start
there
at some
was a
point.
date on the draft of letter that I submitted to the former city secretary,
Okay,
along with a deadline. And then from there, there's a secondary letter that is already prepared to go out. Whether the former city secretary has that, I do not know, but it was ready to go.
Okay.
To be enforced by the code enforcement.
so I think as these folks are homeowners here, this would be a concern, like if they're like, well, when did the clock start?
Well,
So
and
if the
effectively-
original letter didn't have a date on it.
Effectively, the clock will
problem.
start today, because
That's what I'm
notice
thinking
has been
too,
given.
right.
And then if the police department or our inspector decides they want to do a citation, they can issue a summons, and they would come to court, and they would have to answer to the violation.
Right.
And then at that point, if they are found guilty of violation of the ordinance, then the judge would start that clock and say this structure needs to be removed.
Ultimately, it's up to municipal judge on how much of the fine would he would assess per violation. Each day is another violation.
Right.
If it's noticed, just like getting a speeding ticket every day. Every day you go 30 and then 25, they pull you over, it's another ticket, another ticket.
Well, could we say something like if they start doing something, either making a modification or taking it down, that would stop the clock until they figure out what they want to do?
I have slept since that letter was drafted. I know it had a date, and I know that it had about a 2-week trigger that they wanted to see some sort of activity towards the removal. So I think that's reasonable.
Hi there. Really quick question. The only date on here is your court date. It's set for July 25th, 2023. And then it also refers to, I think that we talked about building setbacks. However, the regulation that it's talking to me about, and it says here on the title line, it says 150.099 fences. So I was looking at fences regulation, and it says maybe like later on it says something about buildings and structures. So what exactly is title am I in regulation am I breaking here? Is it on? Because it says
Not what we received.
yeah, we received. But I have a documentation here, and there's no date that says when it's began. It just says my court date is set for July 25th.
It sounds like they already gave you a ticket.
Or summons.
Or summons, but there was a first letter. Let me see. Let me look at the letter that is in our packet.
I don't have that one page.
Where's the letter in the packet? I don't see it in there.
You don't have it in 6?
I just have
No,
this one.
I'm not. I don't get fancy numbers on my packet.
Gotcha.
That's what was in there.
Yeah, the reference is wrong. The reference is wrong.
Okay.
The reference is wrong. There is a correct letter. that I don't know if you received or not, but obviously, it's not a fence issue. It's a pergola issue or whatever it is. It's the accessory structure which was put on without permit.
Yes, so
It is,
150.
yeah, there's an incorrect reference to .099. That's incorrect. That should have been omitted. But the accessory building / structure constructed without permit reference in the reference portion is correct. And there should have been pictures, because there were pictures taken to identify the offending structure. And if you look at the letter, a recent inspection of your property that backs onto the golf course has revealed that you have constructed an accessory structure or building, among other things, in violation of the ordinance requirements as it relates to accessory structure / buildings.
Yeah.
So
But
obviously, it's very clear that's what it's talking about.
it's see at the very top. It says.
I see.
I was a little confused as to what exactly we're talking about, but I understand now. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
No, thank you.
John, anything
What-
to add?
What did we decide?
This is just a discussion only. We can't take any action on it. So it was basically brought up so we can bring it to council's attention and find out what course of action we're gonna take from here on out.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thank y'all for y'all's time, and we really appreciate it all the way up here in the natural state.
Yeah, we're gonna be a little tough trying to do things from so far away, but we'll try.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's see, next item. Number 7, discussion only on the signatories for the City of Palm Valley bank accounts. I brought this up on the agenda item because I finally have a full house and I need everybody's signatures on those forms. So before you leave, the
All of it?
proper forms from the bank, yes.
Right.
So there's 7 different documents and each one of them has to have all our signatures on it so that the proper signatures are on file with the bank.
2 signatures per payment, so.
Yes.
that's-
And there's
Unless one of you
12
always
bank
wants to be the
accounts.
one that signs.
Yeah, there's like 12
No, I
bank
think we
accounts
need
and each one requires signatures and it's a,
Okay.
Okay,
so
thanks.
we need to make sure before you leave, get with Jose. Jose's got packets and we're gonna get all that signed before you leave. All right, number 8, discussion only on the 4th of July parade event. We had a pretty decent turnout and Annette, thank you so much for all your help. I wish Julie was here. She did outstanding. Would you like to tell your story?
Well, we were just real excited. It kind of pulled it together at the last minute. We got Senator LaMantia to be in our parade,
Nice.
and she was very gracious, and it was nice meeting her. And I just think it all went well. And there were 3 of us.
Our
we pulled together.
chauffeur, did you get any grants for us or any money, anything?
I did not, no, but
Yeah.
I was impressed with the fact that you were able to get us a car, so thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
I got to drive a Rubicon around, which was kind of fun, at a whole whopping, I think we got to 6 miles an hour at one point, so. Yeah, Senator Lamtia was lovely, we just chatted, nothing political, it was more about, hey, how long you lived here, that kind of stuff, so no grants, no favors, I'm
Which
sorry.
she did mention she was working on.
We sent you on a mission.
Nobody added that
had
part
one
in the
job.
text. Yeah, that wasn't part of the text, I'm sorry.
Get the money. Yeah. All right, any other discussion on this? Any questions?
I thought it went well. It was a little bit smaller than normal because of the,
It was hot.
and stuff, the heat
And it was-
and the last minute and stuff. And next year with a little more time, we should have a few more vehicles and stuff and everything. It was wonderful. It was good and stuff.
All right, next item, discussion, possible action to approve an ethics ordinance for the City of Palm Valley. It's our 2nd reading. Any discussion?
Found a couple typos.
Sure thing. Can you point those out so I can mark them?
I thought we had already kind of made a decision on that, to have a workshop or,
It's already in action. It's already in play on on the agenda items.
Yeah, I thought the same thing too. There was going to be a workshop. Like I said before, I didn't have a problem with it, other than this last section 6, procedure and jurisdiction. I don't know where that came from. It doesn't refer to any.
Which one?
It doesn't refer.
Section
Section 6. It doesn't refer to any Texas government code or any Texas penal code. It's just there, and I don't understand why it's there.
The procedure and jurisdiction is here in Palm Valley.
Right.
That's standard language.
Standard language on other cities as well
Correct.
with the policy that they have?
Correct. Just the way other ordinances applies, it's going to have the procedure and jurisdiction attached to it, how you apply the ordinance.
You know, I looked at Harlingen's because you had mentioned the Harlingen one. It doesn't have the procedure and jurisdiction on it.
It should.
Well-
It might have it in another section of the code.
There's a default in theirs, obviously, that all their ordinances are to be heard in their jurisdiction, which is their court. It's literally the same. We have in our, just the general ordinances, just the default language, this is sort of duplicative. That jurisdiction, for instance, of the violation of the permitting and setback, and that is, the jurisdiction is here with this municipal court. This is no different, it's the same. So it's already in, even if you took this out, it's already in there in our ordinances.
Then why do we need it?
The reason why is because it basically includes the procedural stuff, which is what I went over last time, and I said this is an added role for a city attorney, because the city attorney is the one that receives complaints and things of that nature, and that's why I went over, this is new, different, an added role for a city attorney, but as a special prosecutor for this, and so that's why this 01 and 02 specific, well, and 03 specifically refer to it, and it's just saying it should be handled in the city. But
So it's gonna cost us money then, we have to pay Jason.
In the event
I
anybody
mentioned
commits a
that.
violation.
if there is a ethics violation that comes forward and that is prosecuted, yeah, it would be an added role, added expense, yes.
For those of y'all who don't know that haven't been here at the past meeting, I'm just going to read the first page. I'm not going to read all 12 pages.
24 pages,
Well, yeah, front and back.
front and back.
An ordinance of the city of Palm Valley, Texas, establishing an ethics policy, defining certain terms, providing standards of conduct, providing for fines, penalties, and disposition of alleged violations, providing for publication and severability, providing for effective dates, and providing for related matters. Whereas it is in the interest of good government that the conduct of the public business should be accomplished by city officials and city employees that have no personal financial interest in such public business. Whereas the proper operation of government requires that city officers and city employees be independent and impartial in that governmental decisions and policy be made within the proper channels of governmental structure. Whereas it is important that the public have confidence in the integrity of its government and its governmental officials, and that the public office not be used for personal gain. Now therefore, be it ordained by the City Council of Palm Valley, Texas, that Section 1, the following Code of Ethics is hereby adopted and enacted. The Code of Ethics of the City of Palm Valley, Texas policy is that the policy of the city that the proper operation of democratic government requires that city officials be independent, impartial, and responsible to the people. That governmental decisions and policy be made through the proper channels of the governmental structure, that public office not to be used for personal gain, and that the public have confidence in the integrity of its government and its governmental officials. The purpose of this code is to establish a code of conduct and enumerate existing state laws which, in addition to other applicable laws, regulate the conduct and activities of the city officials and city employees, and to establish such additional standards as deemed necessary and appropriate to assure the faithful and impartial administration of the city's government. Now, this ethics ordinance, that front page says it all.
Well, why
And
don't
it's
we just-
applying to, it's basically explaining all these state laws and our standards of conduct and how we're gonna operate. And to give confidence back to our public that we're gonna operate under these rules. And I don't see a problem with it. I don't.
Like I said, it's the same as Harlingen. I mean, a little redundant because, you could have just put all this penal code section as a reference. But I have a problem with now we have to pay the city attorney, should any complaint go, it's an extra added cost to the city. So section 6, I don't see it in Harlingen or wherever you got this from, and I'm not in agreement with that procedure jurisdiction. Like I said,
I think Harlingen has a full-time city attorney, don't they?
Yes.
So they've got somebody on payroll that would not be, it's part of their expected duties. Okay.
Right. That's why I mentioned the first word.
Right, which was helpful, thank you, yeah. So this is really just an ignorance question, so I apologize for that. You've got section, capital letter, little letters, and you've got section, all capital.
It's a draft and.
Okay, I'm just making sure, all right, well, I'm gonna nitpick a couple things in the draft. On page 9 of 12, section 5.01, the last sentence in there, each day of that a violation occurs. So I would offer each day of that, comma, a violation occurs.
How about each day that a violation occurs?
Each day of that, comma, a violation occurs, so help me.
Yeah, each
It
day that
feels
a
fine.
violation occurs shall constitute a separate
Okay,
offense. Just
good,
get
I'm
rid
good,
of
that's fine, okay. Underneath there, you've got under 5.02, so this is a draft, so I'm gonna nitpick the draft, I'm sorry.
No worries.
So 5.02, you've got penalties for violations of conduct described in Article 4, period, small a, and below in that same section, there's no period after Article 4, like it's delineating it. So either, I would take the period out. That's what I'm thinking. On page 10 of 12, super nitpicky, sorry. Under 6.01, so the sentence, or the line that starts with sworn written complaint, with is capitalized W. Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so that should be lowercase. And then I saw two more things on here that I wanted to look at on page 11. Commissions and committees, this ordinance shall be effective, we need to fix that date.
Yes.
And then the same thing on the final page, finally enacted this whatever date of, in this case would be July, right?
Yeah.
Well,
so if a complaint comes to you, Jason, then, and it's about you, then we'd have to go outside of this, is that what you're saying?
You go to municipal judge. The municipal judge could hear it, or I could hear it. Obviously, I wouldn't take my own complaint, and I doubt someone would bring their complaint about me to me, unless it was just in the parking lot. It would be to the municipal judge.
well, I still don't understand, because some of my questions last time I felt like was a lot of government overreach. And I know people in Harlingen do business with each other. So was that just an inaccurate
It's more of doing
interpretation?
business with vendors and helping people on a personal level. And gaining from that.
Oh,
And it's altering your decisions here. So if you give the impression that you're gonna help a fellow council member and you're also gonna vote in their direction, now the public's perception of that is gonna be that you all are in cahoots together. So you have to be careful with which business you're gonna conduct with that council member. So at
That's
that point, you would probably file a notice with us that you are participating in this and making it, and then you can still conduct that business.
Right, abstain from voting.
oh,
But does-
conflict of interest.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
but if, like, I could list Bill's house because that's what I
Right.
asked you last
You
time.
just filed that conflict of interest, just saying,
Right.
I am gonna list this house, but
And if he needed a variance, then you would be the one that voted on it in that particular instance.
Oh.
correct.
I see.
So,
Okay.
as I said before, I understand, this is all covered in Texas Municipal Code, I don't see a problem here. I just don't understand this whole jurisdiction and procedure. So, I don't see it in any other,
It's no different than traffic fines going to our local judge,
I understand that, and I look at other cities as well, not just Harlem, and I didn't see that. as well.
because that section is in their code of ordinance written somewhere else.
Those were for-
In other words, somewhere else it's gonna say, any violation of our code of ordinances is gonna be covered here, and this is how you're gonna, the procedure and how it's gonna be prosecuted. And then everything else falls under that. But here in this one, it's written right there on that page, so there's no question about it.
It is the proper jurisdiction for a Class C misdemeanor. We, obviously, if we put in this ordinance, county court of law, or district court, or federal court, they would, first of all, they'd kick it out for lack of jurisdiction, but it would make this ordinance wrong. That is the proper jurisdiction, is the municipal court. We wouldn't put the municipal court of Harlingen in there. It would be also an improperly defined jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is our court here in the city. That's correct. For a ticket, in essence, a violation that occurred in the city.
And the push for this ethics ordinance is because of what action is, all this is covered by Texas Municipal Code, and I don't understand that.
Because it gives the citizens the opportunity, if they see one of us doing something wrong, that gives them an avenue that they can pursue.
To
'Cause
report.
right now, they don't.
You see redundancy here.
If they're gonna go to our local police to try to do something to one of our, something that we did wrong, then there's gonna be a conflict. They're not gonna, we're not gonna put them in that position.
I think people are pretty confident and pretty educated on where they need to go. Well,
Yeah, but no one's had any trouble so far.
And exactly, we just stay flying around.
So I understand what you're saying, but I kind of like it. I mean, it makes sense to me, it's clear, I didn't find anything that gave me heartburn or headache. So other than nitpicky edits, I would make a motion that we accept this code of ordinance with those with those modifications.
I second it.
Yeah, yeah, because I still think, I mean, if we want to let the public know about it, I'm still in favor of having a workshop, going over it, and inviting the public.
Well, I can tell you right now, the public is here.
Well, not all of them.
These are the
Not
ones
all of them are
that
gonna show up. I think these are the ones. These are the
Point
ones
of
that are
procedure,
vested
you've
right now.
got a motion and a second.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 I have 2 ayes, and I have no answer on the other 3.
I say no, nay.
I say no too. I mean, I wanted to go over this and understand it and have a workshop, just like we made a motion on.
I abstain because I need to just go over it a little bit more. I just haven't had a chance to really, I see this and it's very similar to,
Okay.
it seems like it's like the GSA.
Right now, we have a tie. I'm gonna be the tiebreaker.
There's no
and I
tie, he said no.
Three.
He abstained.
No.
Abstained.
He abstained.
Yes, so we have a tie. And as a tiebreaker, I say the motion carries. Avenue or ethics ordinance. Okay. All right. Discussion and possible action to appoint the new Parks and Recreation Board members to serve on behalf of each council member. So y'all had since last month to now, and let's go around the room. I want Julie Harrington, if she still wants to be my
I think she
Parks and Rec.
I think she does, yeah.
So, because sometimes I'm just like,
No, she
trying to
does.
feed her Tylenol and she's pulling her hair out, so. Jerry, do you have anybody you'd like to recommend?
I have a lady named America Gonzalez,
Okay,
and she lives on the corner of La Sombra and Palm Valley Drive West.
okay.
The one that does like party, she puts,
No, I think she does. She's a nurse.
I think she's a nurse.
I think she's a nurse.
Yeah.
there's an
But
American
she
that
was
does-
up here speaking about something one time and stuff. But she was
Have you
really.
spoken to her about it?
I have, and she was real excited. She was thankful that I called her, and I told her that what the obligation entailed, as far as the amount of meetings and stuff and what the events were that she would be connected with, and she was good with that and stuff. And so,
She used to be the mayor in Santa Rosa,
I think that's correct. I want to say it was
Okay, yeah.
Santa Rosa.
full of energy.
Yeah.
I met her a couple of times, she's very full of energy, very good person. Okay, that's Jerry's pick. Gil?
Big Bill Ulmer. He's been involved in this community for many years, and
Good.
he is he knows a lot about the city.
excellent.
Bill. Bill, all right. Welcome aboard. Accepted, all right.
And I gave mine last time.
Uh-huh.
Annette already did hers, which is,
She was excellent.
and she's Perla,
How fun.
no relation, just for the record. All right. Mike?
Actually, I had two people in mind, but they opted not to be part of it, so, but I got this name from
Well, she had told
Annette.
me, she wanted to be involved, so I just said if anybody hadn't picked a person yet.
Yes, so Sandra Elizondo.
Sandra?
Sandra Elizondo, she lives in Guava Circle, and she is eager to start, be part of the team.
No, that was
No,
Tim.
behind it. She was behind the house.
Okay. Sandra Elizondo.
Elizondo.
Okay.
Sylvia Rivera.
Scott. Okay.
She served with me on Parks and Rec, stepped down, and she's coming back. She was very excited for it.
Sylvia Rivera.
Hey,
Bill and all the women.
You got a question?
3-year term, or it ends when the council person's term ends?
It's
Am
a
I correct?
3-year term unless, if you don't get reelected, then it ends when your council member
Gotcha.
goes out.
That's, okay. I'm good.
But they can be reappointed by the incoming.
Sure.
Yes.
All right.
So thank you to all that said yes.
Vote to approve that.
So, yes. So, with all the people that we have named, do I hear a motion? It's gonna be a long motion.
Why is it gonna be long?
List
Three
the
stages.
names.
Each one, what was America's last name?
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez. Okay, I move that we appoint, do I have to say who appointed them?
Yes, because we're gonna have to put that on the record. I'll
Okay,
have Jose go back when we're gonna have to draft letters. We need to set a meeting for Parks and Rec, and then they get sworn in.
okay,
And then once they're sworn in, then they'll conduct business that day.
okay. I move that we accept Jerry
Nomination.
nomination for America Gonzalez. We accept Gil's nomination for Bill Elmer. We've already accepted Perla Galvan. That's my nomination. And then Mike, Sandra Elizondo, and then Scott, Sylvia Rivera.
I'll second that.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Number 11, discussion possible action to approve a resolution authorizing the city of Palm Valley's participation with other Rio Grande Valley, Texas municipalities hiring legal and consulting services to negotiate with the company and direct any necessary litigation and appeals to suspend Texas Gas Service, a division of One Gas Inc., TGS or company, rate increase to all customers.
I asked the mayor to put this one on here. This is this happens about every couple of years. And probably some of the council members are familiar with it, but every couple of years, the gas company tries to really raise the rates. The cities get together with this organization and reduce the rate. Usually there's some sort of settlement. There's a meet in the middle kind of thing. Sometimes there's a reduction, but it has to be approved so that we can enter into an agreement with the company that does the services.
So Jason, is this an action that's happening now, or are we just, this is a preemptive?
By August.
Right.
By August,
Yes. And so we had a meeting this past Thursday, Friday, a Zoom meeting, and the Texas Gas Company's attorneys were there. They have to be notified, they have to know what's going on. Because basically we're gonna sue them saying, don't raise the rates to protect our customers. The past few rate increases that they've asked for were pretty high, but they only were given about a 7% increase. There's two large binders about that big on my desk right now, and it's testimony from all the administration staff from Gas Services explaining why they want to raise the rates. And so this next increase, I believe, is 23%. I mean, it's a high number.
Wow, okay.
And so we're going to try to fight them on that. And so if we pass this resolution, we're basically agreeing to join a coalition of cities to fight this. And once we fight them, we have a team of attorneys that are going to do all the work. At the end of all the litigation, if we do, or we are successful, or whatever happens, Texas Gas Service has to pay those attorneys. It doesn't come out of our pocket.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just to let you know ahead of time before you ask that question.
So what we're looking at is power and numbers. This is
Correct.
it does become a class action, is that considered?
I wouldn't call it a class action, it's just something, we've done it before with AEP, and they try to raise their rates or they try to renegotiate their terms. I think we did it one time with Spectrum.
Yeah, any of the entities that are regulated by the state, there's a mechanism in that statute that regulates them, that requires them to go through this process. And so it occurs, like it's about every other year, it's like buying or selling a car. There's always this big, they always go pie in the sky, and the cities will know it should be a decrease, not an increase, and then usually there's some sort of resolution that I don't know if it's ever gone to where the state's making the decision. There's always ultimately a resolution that everybody can agree with.
How many, or do you know the other cities that are involved? I assume Harlingen.
I think the majority of
Collins.
cities, with the exception of Brownsville, I don't think they're
Right, well,
affected.
Brownsville has their own.
Their own, right.
Yeah, but pretty much everybody
They have their own
is.
utilities.
Okay, well, in that case,
It's gonna
it's
be
kind
the
of a
cities that
no-brainer.
rely on
Yeah.
these outside sources that are
Okay.
regulated by the state.
So we're really not voting on anything today.
We have
We're
to
just,
vote to enter into the agreement
Just to-
to participate as a city with
Oh.
the other
Yeah.
municipalities to fight the increase in the gas rates on the
Okay.
citizens.
all right, so do we need to make a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the city of Palm Valley's participation with other RGV Texas municipalities, hiring legal and consulting services to negotiate with the company and direct any necessary litigation and appeals to suspend Texas Gas Service, a division of One Gas, Inc., yada, yada, yada.
Rate increase. Rate increase.
Yeah, rate
Important
increase.
part.
Rate increase. Thank you.
Okay, I have a
Thank you.
motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. All right. Let's see, number 11. Number 12, discussion and possible action to assign Jose Rivera as the attesting signator of documents in absence of a city secretary until the position is filled. So we're putting on this, because we, as you all know, we do not have a city secretary at this moment. And so there's a lot of city business that's being conducted and requires signatures. Payments need to be made, that kind of nature. And also when we have agenda items that need to be posted. So with that being said, temporarily until we hire an actual city secretary, under recommendation of council, is that we have Jose as our signator temporarily. Any discussion, any questions?
So question, we had two people in the office that were notaries, right? So the city secretary, and was the police chief a notary?
Chief? Yes, he's nodding yes.
Sorry, I didn't see you back there. Okay. So Jose, are you a notary? Is that something that would be required of this position?
I highly recommend that he does have it. We should have at least 2 or 3 in the office.
I would think so.
If somebody's out to lunch or something else is going on, it's going to be necessary that they sign.
That was going to be my recommendation, so.
What
The staff
kind-
was asked to use my notary, and of course, cognizant of the ethics, I said no, but you can hire her separate, and so I'm not sure what happened with that, but I think she can, maybe she.
I think if it's city business, it's okay, as long
Right, it
as
was
I
nice.
don't bring a personal document to you to sign, then that would be a violation of the ethics.
Okay.
So, there'd be some classes to take or for the notary?
What does it
No.
entail?
Actually,
We
the
just
whole,
have to,
what's the whole process
sign
of
a
it? I'm
bond.
sorry.
Notary, it's not, it's background
Notary
check.
part, the attesting signature of documents.
He would sign as a signature for the city, we'll create a little body, block of what his authority is, authorized to sign city secretary, for, in the, for instance, the ethics ordinance, he'll need to sign it,
Okay.
along with the mayor.
We have some-
Those kinds of things.
We have
There's a
some
lot of
other
things in the city,
pending
yeah.
amendments that we did in past meetings that we have to have signed. They haven't been signed, so they haven't been uploaded to the website yet. So there's pending business that needs to be signed, and that's it.
Exactly. Things that a city secretary would sign on, we need someone to sign on them, because
But this isn't gonna stall our process, because I thought you were gonna get a secretary,
We're still working on it. Right now, we have about
not the
12
city secretary,
applications.
but like a
Temporary.
temporary.
I'm still hunting on that person too.
yeah, but
But
that's,
I
that's
think I have
different
about,
than city
I have
secretary.
3 potentials that I'm probably gonna have a special meeting and we'll probably interview them, that have very good qualifications, so. and
Just
they're
like in the
interested.
past, I'd like to see the applications for all of them as well.
Oh, of course.
Okay, good. Yeah, the attesting signatures, as long as we put it in the, sorry, in the motion to say that block that you said that he's only,
Right, that's it. It's to sign in the absence of the city secretary. It's not assuming the role of city secretary. It's
Okay.
just-
And-
which is why this has to be a special authorization of the council. That's why I would prefer it as a, theoretically, the mayor as the CEO could say, you're authorized to sign it, but it's better for the council to authorize it. And so that's why I asked that this be on here.
Hey, and if you would like him to be be a notary as well too,
We need
that would be a motion for another meeting?
Not necessarily, that's something I would basically assign to him.
That's more of a job description thing that could be handled administratively.
Without a motion?
Correct.
Without a motion.
all right, as long as it's only temporary and that, so it's gonna have 2 signatures or just his?
On
Any testing?
ordinances or amendments or anything
Yeah,
like that, it's only
yes,
his,
only his.
just the way it was before.
Yeah,
City
nothing
secretary.
on checks or anything, just, official letterheads of the city where we're writing letters to whoever,
Letter to
you know?
The homeowners of the offending pergola. That kind of thing.
Any further discussion?
I make a motion that we assign Jose Rivera as the attesting signator of documents in absence of a city secretary until the position is filled.
I have a motion, do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, number 13, consent agenda. Up first, police monthly report. Chief?
Not too much to add. We did pick up another reserve on June 30th. We met her, Carla Godia, showed up with the Harlingen Police Department, and she brings a little bit of expertise with her. We are working 3 cases. One of them sensitive, we can't talk too much about. We are looking for Armando Saez. We were looking for him this morning, and we're continuing to look for him. We've been reaching out to his family, and then we're working one other case, but it's business as usual in the police department.
How's the gentleman from Tangerine, how's he doing?
I have not gotten an update on him in the last few days.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was severe.
And for those of y'all who don't know, there was a fire on Tangerine. A man, the homeowner, was injured during that fire, and so we had a couple of heroes
Yes.
jump in.
Yes, we had 2 teenagers save his life.
Wow.
The gentleman was burnt severely. He jumped in a swimming pool, could not swim, and it just happened that there was 2 teenagers that had come by and saved his life, saved him from drowning.
Do you have
Are they
these,
citizens?
2 young citizens. One of them is one of our citizens, another one lives in Harlingen.
you have these kids' names?
We do, yes.
I'd like to recognize them at
Yes,
the next
yes,
council
we
meeting.
discussed that
We
already.
talked
Okay,
about
cool.
that, and yes, sir, I can get with you and let you know, give them the names. I'd like to present them with
Get
the
our
flags.
money's
Yeah.
worth.
Money's worth.
I know.
No, ma'am, no, unfortunately not.
No. So
That's all I have to add.
there was a discussion about Operation Stone Garden,
Yes, sir.
or
Yeah, we're still discussing that, and it's just a manpower issue is what the deal is.
in the future we're probably going to bring a MOU and a resolution to probably participate in a program. It's through Border Patrol, correct, in the state?
Yes, sir.
He knows more about it. Well, I do too, but I'd rather have they speak, because if I start speaking, then forget it, so I'll be here all day.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Raul Rodriguez. I'm one of the new officers here. I started about 4 weeks ago. Actually, this is the 4th week that I've been on. Before that, I was a Border Patrol agent for 30 years. I retired, in September. So the last 8 months, I've been working to get my peace officer license back, and now I'm on with Palm Valley. So it's been good. Going back to Stone Garden, what it is, it's a federal funded program through FEMA. And I've been in touch with the Harlingen Border Patrol office, their Stone Garden personnel. I know I spoke to most of y'all 4th of July about it. And the funding is pretty detailed. It's overtime money. It's money for equipment. The equipment you can get, or you can get one vehicle per year. That'll save us money from purchasing through the city funds. You can also get a radar for vehicles. You can get license plate readers, handheld radios, ATVs, body cameras. I noticed that our body cameras are a little scarce and a little old, so we can probably replace those. Night vision goggles. So anything that would help Border Patrol and their mission, we can get funding for that. And the overtime money will come through FEMA. And the way it works is when we hit the city council up for extra money for overtime, the overtime will be paid through Palm Valley. Then we submit every month we submit our receipts over to Border Patrol, and right away they'll send us that money back, plus 20%. And for the first time, it would be we're using one of our vehicles until we get one loaner. I had some training today, and I met with the Rio Grande City Assistant Chief. Rio Grande City, about a week ago, they got 4 brand new vehicles for them to use for Stone Garden. But of course, they have 34 officers, and they've had a lot of great results on the highway there in Rio Grande City. And it's pretty much, they pay for participation and the stats that we get. And the officers, like I said, so we got for the equipment, vehicles, like I said, we can probably get 1 vehicle a year, which would be great. Also, the officers, they can't exceed 16 hours, so if they work here 8 hours, they would work 8 hours down there. It'll be on Military Highway in the river. You'll be assigned with Border Patrol. They will tell you exactly what areas to work.
You're talking about overtime? They can't exceed 16 hours of overtime?
Well, no, they can't work 16 hours a day. So
I understand.
Say
Okay.
they work 6 to 2 here.
I gotcha.
They would work 2 to 10 over there.
Okay.
And basically right now, what they're working is a 6 a.m. to 12 noon, so 6 hours, and then a 6 p.m. to midnight on the evening shift. So it'd be 6 hours. So the officers can work here first, or vice versa. They can work over there first and then come work back over here. But it won't affect the officers working here,
Right.
That's one of the things we're gonna put on the.
Yeah, we would have to write a policy on our police department, basically mirroring those terms, so that way there's no question about it. And if the event they call in sick, then they will lose that overtime. And basically, like, most of the time, the city keeps the money. So that's an incentive for them not to call in sick and still put in there.
Chief and I have been talking for the last 2 weeks about it. I asked him about it, and Palm Valley's not one of the participants in it. You have Santa Rosa, Primera, Combs, Rio Hondo, all the small departments, they're participating. Of course, Harlingen also, Harlingen, San Benito, La Feria, they're all participating. And like I said, the funding is good because we'll get funding for the officers to work overtime, and we'll get equipment out of it also.
Well, being in the military, I know the federal government doesn't give stuff for free. What do we have to do?
Just work for them. So in other words, say I work a 6 to 2, and I'm gonna work overtime for Border Patrol. I'll go work for them. I'll take a vehicle from here, and they will assign. So right now, Cameron County is the signatory that gets all the money. Mm-hmm. And then they disperse it to Border Patrol so they can disperse it to all the different departments that work under them. And what it is when we go work for them, they'll say, okay, we'd like for you to work this area. Say down in 281, Santa Maria to Los Indios, work that area there. Or, I mean, like I said, different agencies go. So they'll try to pretty much put as many officers as they can in one area. In other words, the smugglers can move to a different area where Border Patrol is working and let them catch the smugglers, the guides, the people coming up.
What uniform do you wear when
I
you're?
was about to ask that.
That was-
So Cameron County has an MOU where they're allowing all the departments to wear your uniform, be in your own vehicle, but you're actually under Cameron County, you're allowed to work those areas. So your jurisdictions are Cameron County's jurisdictions. So we're allowed to work down there with their jurisdiction.
So basically, we're just increasing, I'm sorry, Ed. We're just increasing police presence. So it's obvious that we're here looking for backup.
Right, right.
And a lot of times, they kind of frown about giving citations out there because it's not supposed to be money generating. So they say, don't, but you do have probable cause, you do traffic stops, and mainly it's to gather intelligence. You know, who's coming, who's going, who's in that area. Because every now and then they will pull you aside and they'll say, hey, you stopped this vehicle, this person was driving it, who else is in the vehicle? And you turn in those detailed intel reports. And they use that information to track people in that area. So, and they know who they're looking at. They know who's coming and going, but it helps them for future cases.
Chief, do you have the manpower for it?
Right now, that's what we're discussing. It would be a board at this time. We're still in discussion about that.
Do you have to have a minimum number of officers to qualify for it?
No, it could be one officer, it could be two officers, three officers. What I like to do is, next meeting, is bring Billy Wise, he's the program manager from Edinburgh Sector, and Brandon Kopp, he's the SOS here at the Harlingen Station, and Alex Guerra's the program manager here. That way, if y'all have any other questions, they're the experts to talk to and then ask questions. Maybe next meeting, we could schedule it on the meeting.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's for future.
Yeah.
And this won't start, like I said, till the beginning of the fiscal year, which is October 1. So right now, they're working on planning. So once we get the permission from the board and, what do you call it, the mayor, if y'all say yes, after you discuss it with the Border Patrol, then they're gonna put on their ops order. That way we can have how many officers we're gonna be able to provide. And like I said, right now, the officers, I mean, all the guys that I've talked to, it's overtime money. It's time and a half plus 20%. So, you know, it's a good incentive for them to work. And they'll still be working here and working down there. And right now they're saying 4 to 6 hours. It's not actually a double shift. It's a 4-hour shift or a 6-hour shift after or before their shift. Any
Awesome,
questions?
thank you.
And most of the, from my experience, they do not give out Explorers, they give out Tahoes. That's what I've seen.
Rio Grande City.
They don't go cheap.
They got 4.
Okay.
Rio Grande City got 4 brand new Tahoes right now,
Nice.
as of last week.
What color?
Whatever color your city is.
Yeah, they order whatever your city department has, so that's what
Throw
they'll
in a
order
sticker
for.
in there.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
Chief, I had another question, if you got a second. So we have 5 full-time officers?
We have 4, including myself. I don't consider myself none, but there's 4.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And we have 2 part-times?
Yes, sir.
And the reserves, are we paying the reserves?
So we don't pay our reserves.
So we appreciate the
Yes, sir.
free
We
manpower.
volunteer.
So last time I mentioned, and I just want to mention it again because I'm hoping you get some more traction out of it, the visiting, you had a name for it, I can't remember what it was, I'm sorry. We go visit the folks that came.
Stonebreaker. Stonebreaker checklist.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, because you just mentioned Stonebreaker again, so.
Oh, that's Stone Garden.
So too many stones. We're throwing stones around here.
Sorry about that.
So I just wanted to, if you're not aware of it, you can put your name on the list and the officer can come visit with you, just say hi. And then make sure you're okay. You're doing that twice a week?
As many times as they want.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And it can be done by phone and by email as well.
So if you've got either yourself or family or neighbors that need something, I think it's a fantastic opportunity.
We've got a good turnout, and it's just getting the word out to people. And it's really geared toward people who live alone, that may have, falling, that they've had issues in the past falling. They live alone. We've had a few tragedies happen, and that's what we're trying to avert. So if you know of anybody.
Yeah, I know on the Nextdoor app, we got some traction from that last
Yes, sir.
time we talked about it. So I'm hoping you got more names on the list now.
I hope so too.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you, Chief. All right. Chendo, you have anything? Nothing at all? Okay. I haven't noticed a change. I don't know if anybody else has. All right. Anybody have any other questions or discussion on the consent agenda?
No.
Do I hear a motion?
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Approve the consent.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're ready to go home. All right.
I know. He's not here, I'm acting for him. And I don't even have a hearing problem. Yeah. But, so I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I second that motion.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. All right. And last but not least,
Well,
whoever wants to go.
maybe we adjourn this meeting.
And I hear a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is come to a close.
Getting too quick.
And that was decided.
It's just for information. We're still trying to